as I think about the connectivity to where I am now, right? What was brought of that gratitude and the empathy that I have for my parents now in this stage of my life. I mean, mid-30s, I'm a parent of 2 young children, and bringing children into the world was actually a very emotional experience for me because I had never seen people that were genetically related to me, until I was 32 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife, the genes run so thick in her family. You go to their house and it's like, wow, there's the nose, there's the eyes, there's the skin tone, and even the mannerisms, right? The mannerisms of how they act and how they are, and who got what from mom and dad. When I was growing up, it wasn't until I was older that I began to see who I was versus who they were, and really started to question nature and nurture. And that idea of just base who you are, and depending upon your philosophies, your spiritual practice, or your faith practice, whatever it might be, your soul, and like what exists at that layer, and then what is given to you via experience and nature, or nurture, I'm sorry. I got to see that in like real time, from a very open view, because it was so open to me, and that transparency was given to me from my parents. I remember even little things like I am fairly neat and tidy. I ended up going into design and user experience, which is very kind of meticulous and in its own right. And my parents are a little bit more, okay with mess and things like that. And such a small example, but I think it's important because I always felt dissonance with it when I was in the home growing up. I would be the one that was tidying up and things like that. And I was like, why am I so drawn to doing this? Like, this isn't the environment I live in.
And so your belief is that piece is a little bit more nature, like it's in your DNA to be that way.
Yeah.
Not that was a result of the moving or your need for security or control or anything like that. That it was actually really kind of how you were wired.
Yeah.
Which is probably a genetic thing. That's interesting. You definitely have the experience to speak to both nature and nurture, right? I mean, you now are a father. I've seen pictures of your kids. There's some DNA on your side there, right? It's not all Krista. So your DNA comes through now in another generation, and you can see, they're little, but I'm sure you can already see how, the nature part is true.
Yeah.
Right. But you were also, a tremendous beneficiary of nurture in your adopted parents.
Yeah, totally. And I think that it's a very cool stage in life because you can see this broad landscape, and by landscape, I mean, I use this analogy with my mom the other day. It's like when you're a child, it takes you so long to catch up to understand, well, one, who you are, but two, who your parents were, like even before they were parents, and then what they experienced when they were in their youth, like trying to raise a family. And it's really not until marriage and then children where you begin to have that peerage with your parents, where a child can have empathy for what mom and dad experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm in that middle zone where I can kind of see both ends and say, wow, like you guys went through this. Like, mom, you got on a plane with 2 kids under 2, went overseas for a 24-hour, day without screens. Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And all that empathy exists from it.
Yeah. Oh, it's very true. I mean, I can tell you, it continues to be more and more true. We were talking before we got on the air that I've just dropped 2 kids in college. And I know when I talk to my mom that she knows exactly what that was like. And so there's an appreciation for like, hey, you're my blood, you're my family in your case, right? These are your parents, right? It's the same for both of us. This is our parent. We have had this shared life experience. And now I'm having it, right? Like you did.
Totally.
And so you just automatically connect. On a level that was hard when the roles were different. You were asking me before what it's like to, have kids that are my age. And, I was sharing with you just the joy of having more of an adult relationship. And, I think that's what you're describing, that you now have with your parents
right.
as a parent yourself.